We're doing a little parts of speech review, but it's a little. Certainly you can review the other videos for the areas that you need more review with, a lot more review with. But let me remind you of a few things. One, let me remind you that it depends on how the word is used to determine what part of speech it is. So, for example, the word show, we could have the artists show their work at the gallery. At the gallery, right? Okay, so, whoops, not artists. Show is the word we're looking for. I was going to use some white out. Not that I need to waste your time, but let's go ahead and... Alright, so the artists show their work. Is this a person, place, thing, or idea? Is this an action? Or does it describe a noun? It's an action, right? That's what they do. They show their work. Alright, or what about this? The show starts in 10 minutes. Alright, is this an action also? Or is this a person, place, thing, or idea? Or is it describing a noun? This is a person, place, thing, or idea. Or, what about this one? Show tunes. I don't care for show tunes. This describes what kind of tune. So this one is an adjective. Okay, so you can see the same word used in 3 different ways would indicate it can be 3 different parts of speech depending on which way you use it. All right. Similarly, pronouns and adjectives. Some pronouns are often adjectives, and some adjectives are often pronouns. So it does depend on how it works. Remember, a pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. It represents a noun, or another pronoun sometimes if the noun's already been replaced with a pronoun, and sometimes you replace it with another pronoun, but nonetheless, basically a pronoun replaces a noun, and an adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. So let's take a look at some examples here. The same word, he can have some candy. Some candy. Or he can have some. Okay, so there they are. He can have some candy. Well, some talks about what kind of, basically it describes the candy, or it modifies it. It says that there are some candy. What kind of candy? Some. Alright, so this one is an adjective. But if he can have some, this replaces the word candy, essentially, right? So this is like he can have candy. So this is a pronoun. All right. Remember now, let's see, prepositions. Usually you can put it in this mnemonic device to decide what a preposition is. So you can say alright, the bird flies blank the cloud, so we have in, around, below, and the list goes on and on and on. So those are prepositions. There are a few, as you know, there are a few that don't fit into this mnemonic device right here, but most of them do. you should be studying them all, but this will help you with most of them. All right, and then we have conjunctions. All right, we have the coordinating conjunctions. And those are easily remembered with the acronym FANBOYS. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Those are coordinating conjunctions when they're used as them. And let's see, there's also other kinds of conjunctions like subordinating conjunctions. And when you add a subordinating conjunction to an independent clause, it makes it a dependent clause or a subordinate clause. So you might start with you might want to show the relationship between these two, and so you might say, I won't come, or I won't leave until he comes home. Of course, you add the subordinating conjunction, and it makes the second clause, starting with the subordinating conjunction, and this has to be a lowercase h now, of course, but it makes the second clause a subordinate clause, and it cannot stand alone. It starts with a subordinating conjunction. There are other types of subordinate clauses that start with relative pronouns, and I'll go ahead and show you one of those. That's hard to read. Okay, so if Sandy, who knows 3 languages, goes, I will go. So this is a subordinate clause also. I mean, a subordinate clause starting with a relative pronoun. So who knows 3 languages? Who is a relative pronoun, right? So it replaces a noun like Sandy. So Sandy knows 3 languages is what this is saying in this clause. But we use the relative pronoun here. So if Sandy, who knows 3 languages, goes, I will go too. Or I will go. All right, so anyway, there's another way to give an example of a subordinate clause, a different kind of subordinate clause. It's called a relative clause. And then finally, we also, beyond conjunctions, we have interjections. And these show emotion, like wow, or holy smoke. They show emotion, and also they're not really connected to the rest of the sentence grammatically. So when you use them, if you use it in the middle of a sentence, or if you use it at the beginning of a sentence, you're going to offset it with a comma, or you could use an exclamation point and then just put the next sentence. If you use it in the middle of the sentence, you're going to put a comma around it. It's offset because it's not part of the grammatical construction of the sentence. So you offset it by just putting commas around it. Okay, so there you go. There's your review.